this recording. I think I was having some technical issues. I had to restart my phone. I think I think this is on my previous stream, my episode 2 stream. I'm not super sure. We're gonna find out together. So, okay. I had already gotten started, but what seems like what happened was my phone had locked on the portrait mode. Um, and I'm such a Luddite when it comes to phones. Um, I'm a computer person, so I can do computer things, but like when it comes to things like, oh, there I am. Okay, okay, it looks correct. I think I'm right this time. I think still working on this. It looks correct to me this time. Um, yeah, okay. I'm on the. I will change the name of this and everything. I was just trying to get something down so that I could, so I could get where I was trying to go and figure out what the problem was. So I ultimately just had to restart my phone. It was, I kept pressing the turn it off the lock and it wasn't turning it off. So I had to turn it off and turn it back on again. So we're a go now. Just a couple minutes late. Um, what I was saying in the previous broadcast, which I don't even think saved, I'm not even really sure what happened with that stuff. But basically, to catch you up, what I had started saying already, which is that I'm going to start doing these streams probably every Thursday, first Thursday of the month. And there'll be like a general topic type of thing, like, what's going on with my Keaton book and just any, general stuff. And I'm thinking, what are you doing, bud? My cat's in here. He's making some weird noises down there. I'm sure he'll make an appearance here in a minute, but he's decided he's going to go down under the bed and make weird noises to make it difficult on me for hearing strange sounds going on. Anyways, I think everything's fine now. I think it is. But basically, the best way to find out, I usually announce I'm going to be on a couple days starting in advance. I'm going to start doing my live streams, assuming nothing is wrong. There hasn't been any delay or disruption or anything. But in the event that there is, the best way to, here we are. Hey, buddy. In the event that I can't go on for some reason, I wasn't expecting this issues, but the best way to just get an update, a quick update on what I'm doing, is to go to my Twitter. You don't have to be on Twitter to go there. Just go to my page. Just scroll up and down, see what's going on. I don't love it there either. Not super thrilled with how things are going. But that's if you want a quick update on anything going on, that's the best way to do it. But I'm also on Facebook, but I really am not very Facebook active. Not really my thing. But the best way to connect with me is, good news is I just had my Tumblr reinstated. I have a Tumblr account that's 11 years old. That blog, it's the Million Movie Project. It's been around a long time. And I just now got it reinstated. It got caught up in the purge of, I guess almost exactly 4 years ago, 2018. And when they decided they were changing up their policies to stop allowing adult content, and it was just basically flagging everything. Like, you could have a picture of Mickey Mouse, and if the algorithm thought that it was boobies, then off your account went. So my account got blanked out. It still existed. I just didn't have any access to it. I couldn't get into my archives, and I couldn't. And it said, "Oh, do you want to review your post?" Well, I was a high volume poster. I posted, I have, I think, north of 62,000 posts on there. I haven't really gotten back into it just yet, but I'm really super glad to have it because I didn't want to leave in the first place. But I lost access. And I really didn't agree with what they were doing because it felt like it was specifically targeting women and sex workers, and I felt like that was intentional and deliberate. And I really didn't like, those kind of policy changes. If you want something that's not gonna allow, adults to be adults, go to Facebook or go somewhere else. Good news is that in the reversal of policy here recently, I was able to appeal to them, and they're like, yeah, sorry, dude, here's your account back. So I have my account back. And that's where I got to be weird and post way too personal of stuff and talk under my breath in the tags, and I miss that so much. And I've already started it. I'm already back in there saving things into my draft, and I'm thinking about starting my queue back up. And you know, I didn't want to go in the first place, so I'm really glad to have it back. So if you want the weirdness, go to Tumblr. And I'll put all these links in the description once I, you know, kind of straighten my head out and after everything's going on and all kinds of things like that. But that's the best place to find me. Quick updates, Twitter, weird stuff, Tumblr, Facebook if you have to, but you know, don't. So I try to be present, but it's just not like, you know, I think everybody feels about Facebook anyway. So okay, cool. Now that we're kind of back on track and I'm kind of getting my Brian back in order here, I have a lot of topics I wanted to cover. And now that you know where you can get them, I'll have a regular show once a month to give updates, because when it comes to things like the Buster book that I'm working on, you know, I got to work on it. I got to have time to work on it. So if I did this every week, there wouldn't be anything to say. I'd just be staring into the void. So that's pretty much the plan for now. But there's a little more on that later that I'll talk about. One thing that this whole podcast live stream thing is pretty new to me. So you know, as the technical difficulties show, I really don't have a firm grasp on exactly what I'm doing yet. This is really the only second time I've done it, and immediately there were problems. So I made the decision. I see a lot of people who, you know, they'll say like, oh, if you like my channel, if you like my content, you can make a donation or give me a tip or something like that. And some people, you know, put like commercials and things to try to make a little bit of money going on. But I decided that really wasn't for me for this, because it really didn't seem worth it to me to, you know, be sitting here talking and then have like an ad for boner juice running underneath my face. So I'm not going to do that. But being that it is the holiday season anyways, I will act as my own sponsors, because some people know these things, some people don't. I have a very teeny tiny soap company called Mad Mardigan Soap Company, and it's completely organic, low energy production, low waste, vegan, tested on humans, not animals, and I make bar soap, and currently I make bar soap, bath bombs, and Epsom salt scrubs. And a lot of people like to buy from me this time of year because they make really good gifts. I also make a little tie-dye, which you can kind of see over here. So boop, 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 tie-dye. And you know, it's a tiny little company, so I'm always working on expanding. But I make these things, and I'm getting close to, it's kind of a boutique thing, because it's just with these two hands am I making things all the time. So it's just me. And I usually sell out around this time of year. But I got a little bit left in stock. So if you are getting to the point where like you like what I'm doing and you're into, you know, organic soaps and stuff that I didn't inflate the prices. I don't like doing this. I don't like doing commercialism and capitalism and that kind of thing. But my prices are real low and reasonable. I didn't inflate the prices over, you know, everything else going on. They're the same as they've always been. Really good quality stuff. And I'm adding, hopefully, some new products in, like pet soaps and shampoo bars, and and maybe some mud masks, Cowl and Clay mud masks coming up in the coming year. So if you decide that you want to purchase some gifts from me, then I mail anywhere in the country. I will mail outside the country, but that's a lot of money. So I'll put the links in everything. And if soap isn't your thing, you can, I also have a Redbubble shop, and they have, if you don't know what that is, it's where artists make designs or images, or just do their specialty if they're, you know, a visual designer. And then the Redbubble will has this whole line of products, all kinds of clothing that you can think of, from dresses to hoodies, t-shirts, all that. They have stationery, they have home goods, you can buy a bed set. So that they've got all this stuff. And if you've seen some of you Buster people have seen it because it was on the cover of the Keaton Chronicle over the summer. That particular design of Buster isn't in there, but I do other portraits, like in the magical realism style. So I've got things in there like Baby Mac and Me and Drop Dead Fred and Glinda the Good Witch in that style. And it's on everything there. And I also do designed for items, and I do like a lot of patterns, like vintage style patterns, 50s, 60s, 80s, that kind of thing. And psychedelia. Those are my specialties. And that's a really cool place. Even if you don't buy from me, that's a really cool place to get very personalized gifts. You can buy mugs or anything, or stickers are super popular too. And hats, and just if you walked into like the Walmart, like that's like they got all the same stuff. It's just that these things are super personal. So if you know somebody who's way into sloths or something, like you could find tons of really cool content. I love the site. I can't recommend it enough. I've got about 1,000 designs, and again, I'll put the link in there. So okay, that's the whole business side of things that I kind of feel a little compelled to bring up. Not because I want to, but because every little bit helps. It helps me keep the light on, keeps the book going, all that kind of stuff. We got to do what we got to do, and it's all good stuff, good products. I can answer any questions for you. If you got allergies, and my soaps and my products, they're also really good for sensitive skin and things like that. So, and really basically healthy for you, better than anything you'll get in a store, and cheaper too. So, all right, now we set the business stuff aside. No more of that. But it is it is the time of year where people like to give things to charities. Even though if you can, you should any time of year. But it is the time of year when we like to do it. So, if you're not looking to purchase anything, but you like some charity recommendations, there's always animal shelters. Animal shelters always they have wish lists, like Amazon and Chewy lists. And you can go find them usually pretty easily from their websites. Every city has them. Everywhere you go. I follow, pretty much. I think online I probably follow more cats and shelters and things like that than I do actual human people. I love cats. I'm one of those people who's just obsessed with cats. Like, I'm not gonna be like the girl that starts like crying like that video, but like I totally could. They're just like the best. And it's always great they always need fosters, which I think would be too hard. Like they want you to fail, I think, and have foster fails, and now it's my cat. But fostering is a good way to help out. Donating to a wish list, good way to help out. Donating maybe a little time to go help clean up things. There's a really great shelter that I love, and if I get my way in life, down the road I'll open one just like it. It's called Furball Farm, a pet sanctuary, and it's in Minnesota, I think. Or Wisconsin, way up north, where where the weather gets so cold that animals need a lot more help than they do maybe in more warmer temperate climates. But it's a free range place. It's basically just like this open, like car garage almost looking like type of place, but it's just filled with cat stuff, and all the cats run free, and they shoot live videos all the time, and always do everything volunteer. So that may be the coolest one, but maybe a person running one out of their apartment or their house might need more of your help. But just if you want to donate to something like that, those are great ways. Adoption of animals is great. Fostering is great. If you're more into people wanting to do mutual aid, and you want to see 100% of your donations go to a person, one of my favorite organizations is called Tour for the Poor. It's on Twitter. Hashtag on that. It's run by a guy named Rome Bethea. I think I'm saying his name correctly. I hope I am. Real cool dude. He headquarters out of Detroit, and he basically crowdsources donations for his projects. And this is the busiest guy I've ever seen in my life. Like, he's currently, as I understand, trying to build a public library. Or not like, raise a public library, but like establish a public library in Detroit. He builds benches to give, people places to sit and rest and sleep, I guess, if you have to. He goes to homeless shelters, gives out haircuts, gives out clothing, food. hot pizza, you know, does that kind of a thing. Goes around to places like Flint, and he tours around as well. Like, tour is in it. But he goes around to places like Flint and Flint, Michigan, and Jackson, Mississippi, I think was his most recent project. And he's, you know, boots on the ground, too. He gets help from people a lot, but it's mostly his organization. He's been taking clean water to these places, does diaper drives, does school supply drives, you know, just, and he's always looking for help. So if maybe you can't donate money, you could go to, you know, follow his doings and see where he's going to be at any particular time. And maybe it's, if he's in your neighborhood and you know how to cut hair, you know, hook up with him. He's very interactive with people and wants to help. Very good, cool organization, I feel like. Also, it's completely transparent. So say you, like, you know, donate $20 to his Venmo or PayPal or something like that, he will shout you out on Twitter and say, you know, hey, Stephanie, thanks for the $20 or whatever. You know, just so you know that, like, where your donation is going. And he's very open about it. He's not profiting off of these things. He's, you know, and I hope to see more of this spring up, this mutual aid kind of stuff spring up, especially with things being as hard as they are. It's hard out there. You know, I know it is. So I don't want to sit here and act like, oh, please buy my great things and not think about other people. So if you got some time, if you got some money, those are a couple of good things. And I, you know, it is the time of year, and I didn't really want to go on and not mention it. So you can check that out on Twitter. And I don't know that it's anywhere else, but Twitter, you can go for there. Okay, all right. So business is really, really done now. Let me see. What else did I want to tell you guys? I have a lot. You know, I did say earlier that I have some info about about the Buster book. But right before I get to that, I have a show recommendation for you guys. I know that some of you, it feels so severe. I'm just a sucker for good storytelling. And I love, whether it's books, movies, TV, miniseries, my own work, you know, I've invested in artwork, you know, I love anything that tells a story, and my mind just goes crazy with it. I love being a fan of things. I love being professional in it. It's just, I just live storytelling. That's my, you know, my whole thing. And I love television because it's really risen in the past, you know, couple of years with streaming and everything. And I love that long format storytelling. I always used to be like way into movies, but then kind of television started to kind of outweigh. And I really love the long format storytelling. So I'm kind of a TV addict, I guess you might say. I got to check out new stuff. I love new things. And that got me thinking that I might start doing some episodes aside from the goings-on updates. Maybe we just do like a TV club, TV talk, you know, movies, books, TV, you know, that kind of thing too. And I'll come with the recommendations and like the rundowns, like with spoilers and stuff for the people who have seen it, you know, that kind of a thing. But I don't know exactly about that. I know I won't be able to do it this month because December is always like the busiest month of my life. But in January, I'll do my regular thing, and then maybe couple weeks or so later, wherever I can fit it in, I'll start like a TV talk type of a thing. So in the meantime, if you're inclined to do the things that I say and take my recommendations, there was a show that just wrapped its 6th and final season earlier this year in August, and it's called Animal Kingdom. It was a TNT show, which I never was that invested in the cable programming kind of stuff. But I found it on Amazon Prime, and I'm always looking for new stuff, you know, to save away to try out. And I remember having heard the commercials, you know, for the last 6 years, but never really, you know, paid much attention. So I thought, oh, I'll check out one episode. And from the first episode, I was like, wow, this is something special. So I just, I binged the whole thing. And for a little while, there was a paywall on like the last half of the last episode, and I was going out of my mind. I was insane. Like, I literally did everything in my power to not look up the show, not look up the cast, not look up anything, like stay completely away from everything about it to keep from spoiling the end. And man, if I'd have spoiled this ending, it would have been the worst. Super cool show, super actiony. It's sort of like if you took the movie Point Break and like the movie Roadhouse and the movie The Outsiders and you kind of shook them in a bag, and this is what the show is. Oh man, it's excellent. It's some of the best storytelling I've ever seen. I won't go on very long about this. I'll talk about this separately because I know I got a lot of ground to cover here and we've already had some technical issues tonight. But I just really want people to watch this selfishly, primarily for me, because when I ended it and I had just got my Tumblr back, I was like, all right, here we go. Time for fandom. And I was expecting like this like supernatural level style of fandom. And I go over there and I run the searches. No, nothing. Like there was nothing. There was, you know, you can always count on Tumblr for like the weird fetishism stuff of characters on television, but that was all I was finding. So there, you know, I need the gift sets. I don't have time to make them myself anymore. I need the gifts. I need the not fan fiction. That's not the role playing. That's really all that seems to be there. But I'm looking for something serious and some good content. So you guys got to make me some content. Those of you who do it. I used to GIF. I don't have time anymore. But this show is it's like I don't know exactly if this is the case, but I've noticed this with Stranger Things also. They seem to have, well, for lack of a better term, what I guess I do call umbrella storytelling. And I don't actually know that this is the case, but we have always been, since the beginning of television, TV is not made to entertain or make people happy. It's made to make money. It's how much commercials can be sold. It's, you know, it's a product. And that's unfortunate. And we all know that because a lot of really good shows get canceled, you know, way too prematurely, and a lot of bad ones last way too long. So, generally speaking, of course, but I am really not sure how this show made it, other than the fact that its quality was just so incredible. But I'm noticing this trend now that seems to be coming along, and it's in Stranger Things, and I noticed it in Animal Kingdom. Oh, by the way, if there's any confusion, the show Animal Kingdom, the American television show, was based off of an Australian movie. Okay, so the first season of the show apparently is an adapted version of that movie. So if you, and there's also, I think, an actual literal animal show about animals called that too. So if there's any confusion, I'm not actually talking about like the real like living like four-legged animals when I'm not talking about the Australian movie. I'm talking about the TNT television series, American television series. So as I was saying, with I said supernatural. I mean, what I mean is Stranger Things in this one, instead of where it seems to be, instead of where every season we're like, oh, are they going to get the green light for a new season? And then it's like, here's first season, and then the second season builds on first season, and third season, and fourth, you know, so on and so on. Instead of building onto what exists, which leads to a lot of big plot holes and problems all the time, these two shows seem to already know what they're doing. And instead of building bit by bit by bit, they really seem to dilate in story. Like here, you know this much starting in season 1, and then season 2, you know this much, and then season 3, you know, and so on and so on. It gets bigger. Again, don't know if that's literally how they were done, but it feels that way on both of them. In terms of content, not at all comparable, but in terms of quality, definitely excellent. Definitely recommend. It's one of those shows that I'm not the type of person who you know, I'm not gonna, I really don't have the patience for like a rom-com or like high drama, like, you know, feelings, lots and lots of feelings. You know, I'm gonna be sitting there like, all right, it's been 15 minutes, where's my car chase? You know, I need something, you know, I need something a little bit more than just that kind of stuff. I know that does it for a lot of people, but I get really bored of that kind of stuff. And this is the show that, first of all, you never know what's going to happen, and it is exhilarating and like frightening because your heart will be racing because to summarize, it's a story about a family of elite thieves, Robin Hoods, basically, and they will be doing jobs that are so scary, and you just don't know if they're going to go bad, if somebody's going to get hurt. You don't know what's going to happen, and there's consequences, and it is so action-packed, and it is so exciting. In the first season, I keep trying to sell my best friend on it because the first season really feels like it's a Point Break was made into a show, and and we love Swayze. We're big Swayze people in my family. And I'm like, you have to see it, you have to see it. But then it really kind of gets out of that. And it does start off a little bit shaky, but by the middle, the first season, you go very quick from these guys really suck. I don't care what happens to these people to I will die for you. It happens fast. In the story, I've never seen anything that's so complete and so good. So exciting. It's also funny and dramatic at times too. You get so invested in it. And I won't give you any spoilers because this is something you don't want spoiled. But and this is not funny at all within the context of the show, but it's really funny when you talk about it. There's, basically the basic family unit is three brothers and their nephew. And there's other people, but three brothers and great guest stars too, by the way. Excellent casting all the way around. Some of the best acting you will ever see. Incredible. But at three separate times for three separate reasons, each one of the uncles or the brothers, each one of the brothers tries to drown their nephew in the pool. And it's a through line that I've never seen any other show have. I don't know if it was delivered that way, but like, it happens. It is great. This is the best show I think that I've really ever seen, because people always say like, oh, what's the best show ever made? And they usually say The Wire, and that's pretty much true. This isn't too different from that. They're actually, as we pull up in the end of the show, there is, a little bit of wireness to it. But at the heart of it, it's like a modern Shakespearean story. And the ending I just got to see, and it didn't get spoiled for me. Oh man, it took me some time to recover from that. That was something. It was something for sure. So what I'll do is I'll leave that there. And it's for the sake of getting to the other topics, because I could clearly go on about it. But anyways, I really love that show. And I'm trying to see if my chat works. If you guys are saying stuff to me, I think my screen is frozen. I'm having like really good luck tonight on things. I'm really loving that. So how well everything is working, that's my favorite. So if I'm not responding to you, I'm sorry. I'm not seeing it. It's just not showing up for me. We're having a time here tonight. What I'll do is I'll try to schedule a time when I can have like a TV talk kind of a thing. And that'll probably be the first episode, probably sometime around middle of what's next month? January. And I think I've told you before that I'm like just like have more knowledge about the show Bonanza than like probably any living human. So I'll talk about that. There's all kinds of recommendations I can give you, and we'll go on a very spoilery journey, on doing some of those, some intermediarily, as we go, as time goes on. And, well, geez, I tried to press a button and now everything's wrong. Sorry, I can't see your comments tonight. Things are not working. Oh, okay. No, they're showing up for me now. Okay, no, it's fine. Somebody suggested to me, said, yeah, about Bonanza. Yes, Bonanza. So there's a lot to talk about when it comes to shows, and a lot of my favorite shows from ever. It's not just modern stuff. So I will do something where we can have this will give you a little time to watch Animal Kingdom, and then link up with me, or at some point watch it, and I'll give like a big spoilery, why God, why, talk about it. Like I said, like I need you guys to step up for me, because I really need. The show is over and I'm so sad, and it was absolutely perfect, literally perfect storytelling, and I just need more content. I really do. I need more content. So yeah, and I'm seeing comments here. Star Trek Dark Shadows. Yeah, we'll talk about it all. I love TV. I love movies, so we'll do that. I'll do my regular updates, and then we'll do that as well. Okay, all right. Draw a line under that for now. So I know a lot of you are hanging on, waiting for me to get to the Buster stuff finally. You promised it, promised it, then you talk a bunch of shit about other stuff. So, basically, in terms of the update of the book, I think last month, on my last episode, I said that I was about 70-75% of the way completed with it. And just a little bit of an update. I had to restart the whole project It wasn't a very fun talk last time, but it was very necessary. I hate that that was my first, I sit here and say, I don't like drama, and my first episode is, here's some drama. But basically, I had to restart the project from scratch over again after working on it for years because I found out that I was being misled and fed false information by a potential source. And it became a very untenable, threatening and abusive situation towards me, where the person kind of really got overly invested in me as a person, and I just absolutely had to disconnect from that because the book that I am writing is what you would call a nonfiction novel, and what that does is it basically just sets the scene for what's going on, and it takes the structure of a novel, like how you would read a novel, except the information that you're presenting is true. So that's what's going on. It's about the latter half of Buster's life, basically from a few years after he marries Eleanor and a little past the end of his life. But it gives you that firsthand fly on the wall kind of feeling and knowledge. And one thing it's going to do really well, and I'm super excited about, is if you're a researcher like me, and if you've also spent like 13 years interviewing people who, some of which are dead, and you've gone to places and you've done these things, you know the full story, but I don't want to gatekeep that. I don't want to be like, I know everything. No, I want you guys to be able to enjoy it the same way, because when I came into the community of Buster historians and fans, I was welcomed with open arms, really. So I want to take all these like things that people know well and things that they've never heard before, and put them in this one storybook style narrative, so that if you want to try and trip me up, you can look up all these things, go right ahead. But if you want to roll with it, you can just enjoy getting to read the data in a story fashion together. So that's what's super cool about it. It's never been done. I'm really excited. If you enjoyed my movie, Oh Buster, Where Art Thou?, which is on YouTube if you haven't seen it, in full, for free, no commercials, no boner juice ads. You can watch that for free. And let me see here. What's going on? Yeah. And a lot of research. I mean, we're talking a decade plus has gotten into this, and things that cannot be recreated. So if you like the movie, you will like the book. And as I said, and that catches you up to speed here. So from what I had been working on in previous years before everything, got foobar, it turned, I started again. And at that point, last month, I was about 75% finished with it. And now I'm a lot closer, probably 80% totally finished with it. I have just recently finished the first main finishing draft. I know it's like everybody has their own system when they write, or make art or whatever. Everybody's got their own system. But for me, just to kind of explain it like in simplistic terms, like not like getting, acting like I'm so smart, but nobody can follow me. But it's basically like if you wrote something out first draft, but like closer to a finished draft, not just like a rough draft with ideas. So it's let's say it's like 80% finished at this point. But now I'm going back through, as I will do like 100 more times, and adding in content, fixing little, errors, and double checking everything, and making sure things happen in the right order, the way they're supposed to, when they're supposed to, where they're supposed to. And I know that the last biography, the James Curtis biography that came out, everybody loved that as far as I knew. I haven't had the time yet to read it. And I also kind of, sometimes when new media comes out on things that I'm working on or similar, I try to distance myself a little bit because I don't want things to kind of overlap too much. I don't want to be overly influenced in one way or the other. I want to make sure I'm staying on my track in my way and doing what I do and not accidentally doing what somebody else does. Because that kind of stuff happens when you're talking about a finite amount of information. But I understand that book was pretty much universally what everyone had been looking for, but also that it was very long and very dense. Not necessarily for a fan is that a problem. But I'm hoping to get a page count around 400 pages. 350 to 400 is sort of my where I'm shooting for. So I hope if I end up exceeding that, it won't be by much, and that you guys can forgive me, because I know that long books can get tedious and you can get bored of them for whatever reason and stuff like that. But I'm shooting for that. I don't know exactly how close to that mark I'm gonna make it, because I gotta edit. I gotta edit. And whenever I'm editing a project, I always try to channel Jim Harrison and think like how I can make like the most impact with the least amount of words, the way that he did that. And I'm always trying to shoot for that, like the brevity and being succinct with my words, because I have a tendency when I'm just free writing to just word. But I also cannot stand it when you're reading a book and it's like, here's 14 pages on the texture of a tablecloth, or what somebody's eyelashes look like in the sun. Like, come on, like, enough, all right? Like, car chase, right? So that's how my editing process works, and that's where I'm basically at now. The story is written. Pew. Aside from adding in a few more things, a few more scenes that struck me kind of in the writing process that I didn't want to. I write in sequence, which means like, from front to end. I don't write out of order, really. If I've got an idea for something out of order, that goes in the notes, and that's why my notes are just out of control, and we're talking about like 13 years worth of notes here. So I have to have a key, like a map key, like a key to understand what my notes even mean at this point. This has just gone on so long that I'm even, it's starting to get lost on me even, and I have to go back and search my stuff and try to understand what even I was talking about. So I have, kind of a hit list, a punch list of things I want to add in. Then I'll be going over it again, smoothing down all the, you make sure the continuity is there, and making sure that everyone is portrayed the way I want them to be portrayed. I write in what's called vernacular, which gets a little bit confusing for people sometimes, but you get into it. You figure it out pretty quickly. And what that means, which you probably already know, but just for the uninitiated, what that means is like, you write for sound, like how people's accents are, the word usages that they have. You write like they talk, instead of writing like, if you wrote the sentence like, we're gonna go to the store, do you want anything? Like, that's how you would write it, not like, we are going to go to the store, do you want anything? You don't write like precise grammar. It's very fluid. I guess fluid is the word. So be prepared for that. It might be a little bit confusing in the beginning, but you'll get hip. You'll pick up on it. And a good thing to remember also is that like performers and people who do jobs professionally in front of people, they tend to talk a little bit different, like in interviews and stuff, than they do at home with their families and things like that. So there will be it's a very personal touch. It's very individualistic, and so there's Midwestern accents, there's Northwestern accents, there's word usages that are specific to these people, and that's just how I do, because it feels more realistic to me, even though I recognize that it can be a little bit difficult to read at first, but you'll get into it. I promise you'll get into it. This is not something that's going to go over people's heads. This is like something for everybody, and it's like a movie on paper, basically, is the way that I think about it. And I want you guys to be able to connect with them as people. So even though they're technically characters, they're the most realistic the most realistic depictions and portrayals of these people that I can come as close to without, my time machine that I, is still in parts in the garage. So that's what's going on. There's a lot more to go. It's not like, oh, I'll be done next month. No, there's still a ton to go of work, but we're close. We're closer to having something that's like 3-dimensional, close to finished, because it's really hard for, like, if you're a writer, it's really hard to be like, okay, all done, because then you're immediately gonna be like, no, I gotta go fix that, I gotta go fix that. It's like, oh, I already published it. Fantastic. Excellent. I'm loving that for me. So one thing I was thinking about doing, and I would love the feedback on this, is maybe when I get a little bit further along, maybe I could release like a couple of little excerpts here and there for you guys to check out. Let me know what you think. Would you rather it all be like, no, just save it? Because that's what I would normally do. Is I wouldn't want to release things that weren't really in full context. But I will be doing like I'll be working on it. So, if it's something that like you could be like, oh yeah, I would love to read, a couple paragraphs and see what it's going to sound like, see what it's like. Sure, then I will do that. But, you just gotta let me know. Or if I'm feeling it, I'll just do it anyways. We'll figure the whole thing out. So that's where I'm at right now. And that's again why I said I'll do this month to month, because if it was pretty much any sooner or closer together, I'd just be, staring, that's fun too, but I won't have any real significant updates. As always, you can come at me with any questions on my socials or anything like that. I'm still working on a way, there's been so many helpful voices and people who have just, answered questions or, just been helpful, just been helpful voices in this whole thing. And there's so many that I really can't think of like a way to properly thank them. So I might just have to like when the book's done, just put like a list online or something and thank all you guys that really helped me along the way. With anything from support, be like, you can do it, to just, answering questions for me. To the people who gave really big in-depth interviews, and I just don't have a way to thank everybody properly. I'm still working on that. But that's where we're at for right now. So I'm still working on that idea. I will come at you with some more stuff that I'm kind of considering. So and then again, it's going to take me a little while to get through to it. It's going to take me a little while to get through all of it. But I'll keep you updated, all that kind of stuff. Maybe we'll do some excerpts, some stuff like that. After this is done, and I am looking at more like months and not more years, because I've been on this for years before this past year where things changed, right? So, after this is done, I do have more Buster stuff planned, and I got a question about this. I do have some more Buster stuff planned. I just don't have a timeline for it yet, because we're talking pretty distantly in the future, with this one not even finished yet. So what I would like to do as far as Buster goes is I have in mind an art book, which would be like a tabletop type of a book down the road, where it'd be like my old Buster works, new ones I haven't done yet or haven't released, and just kind of get everything into one place. Because I know you guys as fans, you like everything, just like me, so the more the better. And because I've done so many different styles so much over the years, so many different things, and I can add more things. I've got a lot of unreleased artworks and stuff that just, never really fit here or there, that kind of a thing. And I thought, well, I'll use this for that. I'll use this for that. And I never ended up getting around to it. So I'm thinking about having an art book down the road. Maybe like little explanations about how I did it, or what inspired it particularly. And then another thing, which will be like a companion to this book, and the book is sort of a companion to the movie, is I'm working on ideas for, I'm working through a cookbook, because for a while, about 8 years, the whole Keaton family lived together in Myra's house, before, Buster and Eleanor moved out to the Woodland Hills house. So you had a whole family of people who are living together as adults, and they're sharing a lot of meals, they're preparing a lot of meals, there's a lot of food going through. They also live in a unique time where some of it's during the war, some of it's post-war, but they live in Southern California, where people had probably a better chance of getting things that the rest of the country couldn't get, living next to the ocean, first of all, but also access to everything from up and down the entire coast from Mexico to Canada in terms of produce. Um, so, and then you also have people like Myra and Buster who spent a lot of their life eating, whatever was given to them, whatever boarding house they were staying at. So they have this an interesting Americana kind of cooking style juxtaposed against the war and post-war eras when modern conveniences, the 50s are starting to come in. So it's like a historical kind of a thing. So I talk about a lot of the food that they eat in this book that I'm working on currently, the storybook. So I wanted to kind of separate that out and provide like a cookbook, like a step-by-step type cookbook, with some of the foods that they would have eaten, and like the stories behind it, and like, how that they would have come by these things, and where, because if you think about something just as simple as, well, we know white sugar was difficult to come by, during the war years, but, white refined sugar. But if you think about, well, you got that whole coast available, so you've got things like agave and maple and honey and beet sugar, and things like that. And the same with like flour. Okay, well, maybe we can't get wheat flour as easily, but there's acorn flour and all kinds of stuff like that. So they were in a very unique time, a very unique place, and other than also just being about them and what they were into, like, it's also a cool historical kind of moment in time that I want to talk about. So those things are on the table, and I will be doing Buster stuff forever, in for a penny, in for a pound. I've already been in this for a good portion of my adult life. That's going to keep going. But that's the stuff that is in, like, let's say the moderate to distant future for now. And when this book is over, I'm not going to hop right into those things though. Because when this book is over, especially for how long that it's lasted, I'm going to need a Buster break. It's, and I've had to do that before. After the movie wrapped, I practically ran from it. I just, in my mind, it was just like, I felt so beneath it. And there's been a times in this book also that I felt like I was trapped beneath it, because I'm the type of person that just has like 1,000 things going in their mind at any given minute, and I can't get to them all. There's so many things that I can't do because of just being restricted by time, and like, oh, I gotta make soap, oh, I gotta make art, oh, I gotta write this book, and then there's so much stuff I just don't even get to, and it's just like things get pushed off and pushed off and pushed off, and we only have so much time in our lives. So there are times when I feel very, very consumed by Buster stuff. And it's not like, oh, I hate you, Buster, why have you done this to me? Nothing like that at all, of course. It's just that this is something I want to do. I feel like it's a calling within, the other stuff that I want to do. But there, I think there comes a time when, a lot of times when I'm just like, I feel trapped. I need to get out. So I don't feel like that as much anymore now that things are better, and then I'm, in full control of the narrative again, and I feel good about what's happening. But there were a lot of dark times. I used to send, every year I send my best friends like a letter, just, funny stuff about what's happened during the year. Like, it's not like we don't talk. It's just that, it's letter writing's kind of fun, and I draw them pictures and that kind of a thing. And they really like it. I really like it. It's become a tradition. And I would always post pictures for like the last 3 or 4 years. I was posting pictures of like Jack Torrance, like this me, like the whole thing. And then or pictures of like, like in Kindergarten Cop, when Arnold yells at the children. And then because that's how it, because that's how I was feeling. I was so, I'm not really a depressive type of person, but when things were going so badly for so long, and it had bled through into personal issues that were coming at me, and it was taking over everything. We were going down just the wrong road completely. Like I was getting into some depression issues. Not what I would say long lasting or significant. I have a pretty good ability to shake things off, but it was happening. So now that I'm in control of it, it's going where I want it to. I've got a full finished draft. Just adding stuff now and doing the edits. Feel really good about it. I just also know that I'm going to need a break. So and that's going to allow me to get back to some of these other books that I have been writing that don't have anything to do with Buster, you know, that are other fiction stories, historical fiction. I write in all genres. I'm a multi-genre writer. And I've got two things right now. Well, you know, to be specific, I've got, you know, a work in progress list a mile long. I've got so much. But to what I'm going to be working on primarily coming up after I finish with the Buster stuff is I've got a paranormal thriller that I've been working on for a very long time called The Big Bad Wolf. And I've got a Western, I call it a Western, but it's probably more like historical fiction if I'm being specific, but a whole universe set up for a Western, my Western series, and it's called tentatively, but probably called Fields of Gold. And it will have, you know, side stories, and it will go over time, kind of the way that one of my favorite books in miniseries of all time is Centennial. And then if you've seen it or read it, you know that that's like, it's generational, things happen. So that's what I've got in mind for Fields of Gold. And I'm really, I have Fields of Gold. Actually, I started trying to write when I was 15 years old, and I didn't get a full finished draft until about 4 years ago. So and I'm 37 now. So that one took literally my whole life to figure out and get right. And so I really am anxious to get back to both of those things. I've been working on them for years. I've got a bunch more in the pipeline. I want to get to that stuff as soon as I can, but I'm not rushing the Buster stuff. I'm just very much looking forward to be able to get through that kind of stuff, because I do work fast and I'm ready to get back into that. And a lot of the other things that I have too. So I'm really looking forward to hopefully bringing you guys in on some of my stuff that's not Buster related, because I can do more, and you know, it's different. You know, it's not, you know, it's not tied into, even though it might be historical, it's not like specific times, dates, you know, having to adhere to things specifically. I've got the power, you know, I can do what I want to do. So with that being said, that's probably what's coming next. I have always had so many irons in the fire, you know, making movies, you know, running the craft, being a crafts person, artwork, writing. I've never really effectively been able to seek out like a literary agent, like representation. So I will be doing that more in earnest after this book is finished, to see what my possibilities are. So if you're a literary agent who, you know, likes to represent multi-genre writers, you know, you can reach out to me. But I will be like testing the waters on that, because I know that the industry is really shifting towards self-publishing, and I know that the onus of PR is really on the shoulders of the writers and the creators themselves these days. So if I would like to see what's going on in the industry. I don't know if that's going to be a great fit for me, but if I had to go self-publish, no big deal. I do have a book that I wanted to try out the self-publishing route, see what it was all about. So if you're interested in seeing, you know, a sample of something else that I do have a book on the market. It was written I finished it about a year and published it about a year before COVID happened. So it's gloriously before what the world was before. It's a weird story about fate, basically. It's called Sorry Charlie, and I'll put the information in there, but it's like SRY Charlie, like a handle. And in short, it's about a guy who is a shut-in and has been for about a decade, and then gets driven out of his house when it, you know, burns down around him, basically in a sudden fire, and he almost doesn't make it out. And then he basically has to, after having lived this really tight shut-in life, has to figure out how to live life on the outside, and meets a couple of weird people, and they all weird up together, and some fake stuff happens, and it's kind of comedy, kind of drama, kind of a fun story. Again, completely devoid of any kind of pandemic life stuff. So if you want to check that out, that's sort of a sample of what I've got out there in terms of writing. But that's where we are. And I know I've talked a lot. I really was trying to keep the time limit down on this a little bit more than I did, but with all the technical issues that I had, I kind of got run behind. I will put the links to everything that I've talked about tonight. I know I talked about like, well, cat shelters and books and Twitter and Tumblr, but I'll put, I'll try to recall everything. If I don't get to it, just ask me what's going on. But basically, that's about all I have for you right now. Next month, like I said, I'll try to start adding in some extra episodes where we can do a little TV club, movie club, whatever you like to call it. Maybe I'll come up with a clever name for it. I'm terrible at titling things. Terrible at it. So just keep bearing that in mind. I hope you all have a really excellent holiday season in whichever persuasion of celebrations you may have. And I am starting to get, despite tonight's technical issues, I'm starting to kind of get in the habit of this now, and it's working in my mind. So I am looking forward to talking to you again soon with hopefully more updates about the Buster book and all that going on. So thanks for bearing with me, all the Buster people all my non-Buster talk tonight. And I will see you again soon. So happy holidays, and shout out to Bones, Cat, Jellybean, and Cheech. Happy holidays, guys. Love you.